So the next on our journey of wealth and riches and glory and status and all things amazing is marketing and sales. And if you think about this from a sequence perspective, you have to make the thing and then you have to promote the thing. Now, the making the thing is $100 million offers. What should I sell? The next question is, who should I sell it to? AKA getting leads. And you get leads through advertising, which is the concept of my second book, $100 million leads. And then you get them to buy. But the thing that people mess up is that they then think, okay, I'm gonna do more of that. But what you actually need to do next is you go back to here and you fix the product and keep making it better. And then you promote it more. And then you come back and fix the product and make it better. And it becomes this virtuous cycle. So if we need to understand how to market and sell, then it means that you have to have one advertising method. There are 8 ways you can advertise. There's 4 that you can do, and then there's 4 that other people can do for you. You can do warm outreach, which is reaching out one-to-one to your friends. You can post content one-to-many, but to people who know you. You can run paid ads, which is doing one-to-many to strangers, or you can do one-to-one to strangers, which is cold outreach. And if you're like, man, no one's buying my thing, I can guarantee you that you're not doing enough of these core 4. Period. That's it, because these are the only 4 things that you can do to advertise. The next thing is that you can get referrals from customers, which are lead getters. Next, you can have employees who help do the core 4 for you. You can have agencies who run the core 4 for you, make content for you, do outreach for you. All of those things you can hire another business to help you with. And then finally, you've got affiliates, which some people call influencers, some people call endorsements, but it's somebody who already has an audience, already has a business, and that you compensate in some way to do the advertising for you, the core 4, to let other people know about your stuff. These are the 8 ways that you can advertise anything to anyone. And the nice thing is when you're starting out for your first million, just pick one. Once you pick the advertising method that you want, and let's say you're using lead getters, you have to learn one of the core 4 to then get lead getters. And that's okay, that's fine, that's part of business. These will always give you more leverage than the first 4, and that's okay. But you have to start with these first. So let's assume that you're just gonna stick to the core 4 in the beginning because you're like, I don't wanna involve other parties, which I recommend, especially if you're starting out. And you're like, you know what, I'm going to post content. That's what you're gonna do, that's your method. All right, now you're gonna have all these people who like your posts, comment on your posts, DM you personally when you make content that they find compelling or interesting and say, hey, I'd love your help on whatever this thing is. Then you transition into sales. Now, it's so important for founders who are starting a company to be integrally involved in both of these processes. The reason you want the founder to be integrally involved in the beginning is 1, it's cheaper, and especially when you have less cash, that makes sense. 2, these are skills that are gonna be required for you to succeed over the long haul. So you're gonna wanna understand them at a tactical level because when you bring someone else in the future, these lead getters, whether it's employees, agencies, affiliates, or whatever, you can teach them the right way to do it. And when they say, hey, that's not possible, you can be like, no, it is, let me show you how. And then you have a litmus test of who's legit and who's not, who's gonna help you on your journey. Whether you're hiring them or you're incentivizing them, it works the same. When it comes to the sales side, we want to get into a choreographed process, knowing what step 1 through letter Z of the process looks like to get someone from, I think this might be interesting, to giving you money. But if you don't know what you're doing first, you have to throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. And a lot of it's just gonna be your gut in the beginning and figuring out, whoop, that didn't work, whoop, that didn't, oh, that one actually got a response. All right, that's step 2. And you keep trying until you get to step 3, and then you keep trying until you get to step 4, until eventually somebody gives you money. And then you backtrack and say, what happened to this person that did these steps? Great, now I'm gonna try and recreate that as many times as I can, and then that becomes your process. And that process repeats at each micro level too, because that might be 3 or 4 steps to get to the conversation where someone might give you money. And then what do you do in that conversation? Well, when I ask this question first, and this question second, and this question third, it's more likely that they ultimately buy. And so if you don't follow a script in the beginning, you better make one, because if you're going to eventually get out of sales, which you should if you want to scale, then you're going to be able to teach somebody else how to sell too. And one of the biggest issues early on is that the founder is the most convicted about the product, and you should be, it's your company. But people who come after you are never going to be as charismatic or as convicted in the thing that you have as you are, which means you need to follow a process to maximize the likelihood that the prospects that they speak with ultimately purchase.